ॐ श्रीकृष्ण शरणं मम गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्द सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। शुक्लां भरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो नमः सद्गुरुभ्यो नमो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रय विनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तम् अनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरह कातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। यस्वानुभावमखिल श्रुतिसारमेकम् अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितीर्षतां तमोऽन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां। योगीन्द्राय नमस्तस्मै शुकाय ब्रह्मरूपिणे संसारसर्पदष्टं यो विष्णुरातम् अमूमुचते कालव्यालमुखग्रास त्रासनिर्नाशहेतवे श्रीमद्भागवतं शास्त्रं कलौकीरेण भाषितम् एतस्मादपरं किञ्चित् मनःशुद्ध्यै न विद्यते जन्मान्तरे भवेत् पुण्यं तदा भागवतं लभेत् ज्ञानवैराग्यसम्पूर्णान् हरिभक्तिपरायणान् पूर्वाचार्यातहं वन्दे सम्प्रदायप्रवर्तकान् भगवन्नाम साम्राज्य लक्ष्मी सर्वस्वविग्रहं श्रीमद्बोधेन्द्रयोगीन्द्र देशिकेन्द्रम् उपास्महे। कलिकालोचितं धर्मं नाम संकीर्तनात्मकं निर्णेतुम् अवतीर्णं तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। हरे रामेति कृष्णेति नाम संकीर्तनं सदा लोकक्षेमाय कुर्वन्तं प्रेमिकं सद्गुरुं भजे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्तेष्वभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सतां वेद्यं वास्तवमत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम् श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः सद्यो हृद्य वरुध्यतेऽत्र कृतिभिः शुश्रूषिभिस्तत्क्षणात् निगमकल्पतरोर्गलितं फलं शुकमुखात् अमृतद्रवसंयुतं पिबत भागवतं रसमालयं मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् श्रीमद्भागवताख्योऽयं प्रत्यक्षः कृष्ण एव हि स्वीकृतोऽसि मया नाथ मुक्त्यर्थं भवसागरे मनोरथो मदीयोऽयं सफलः सर्वदा त्वया निर्विघ्नेनैव कर्तव्यो दासोऽहं तव केशव। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। श्रीहरे नमः। गोपिका जीवनस्मरणं गोविन्दा गोविन्द सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Okay, we'll do a quick review of the eighth, I think 40 stanzas. Ramesh, can you do 20 and Narayani, you can do 20?
Yeah, yes, Rajesh. Yeah, okay. Om Maitreyi Uvacha Sanagatya Naratascha Ruburhamso Niryadihi Naito Grihan Brahmasuta Hyavasan Varetashah.
The second line, Naite. Okay, second line, first word. Naite Griha.
Naite Grihan Brahmasuta Hyavasan Varetashah Mrisha Dharmasya Pararyasi Tampam Mayam cha Satrahan Ahudat Midunam Tatto Nirrudir Jagruho Prajaha
Jagrihe Prajaha.
Jagrute Prajaha Tayo Sambhava Pallavo Nigrudischa Mahamate ताप्यां क्रोधश्च हिंसा च यद्धृक्तिः स्वशाकलिः दुरुक्तौ कलिरादत्त भयं मृत्युं च सत्तम तयोश्च मिथुनं जज्ञे यतानानिरयस्तथा
यातना, second line, यातना.
यातनानिरयस्तथा सङ्ग्रह मे मया ख्यातः प्रदिसर्गस्तवानक त्रिदस्त्रुद्वैतत् पुमान् पुण्यं विधिनोद्यात्मनो मलम्
Second line, first word, trishrut vaitat.
त्रिस्तृष्वैतत् पुमान् पुण्यं विधिनोत्यत्मनो मनोमलम् अततत् कीर्तये वंशं पुण्यकीर्ते गुरुद्वः स्वायं भुवस्यापि मनोह हरेरंसां सजन्मनः प्रियवृत्तोतानपातौ सतरूपपते श्रुतौ वासुदेवस्य कलया रक्षायां जगतः स्थितौ जाये उत्तानपातस्य सुनीति सुरुचिस्ततयोः
तयोः सुरुचिस्तयोः
रुचिस्तयोः रुचिरिस्प्रेयसी पत्युः नेतरा यत्सुतो ध्रुवः एकता रुचेः पुत्रम् अङ्गमारोभ्य लालयन् उत्तमं नारुरुक्षन्तं ध्रुवं राजप्यनन्दतः
Nandata, no visarganga illa. The first line la ekada suruchef putram.
Okay, I think I'm
Again,
trying to
su you didn't. I think you missed the su there. Ekada suruchef putram. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
चेस्पुत्रम् अङ्गमारोप्य लालयन् उत्तमं नारुरुक्षन्तं ध्रुवं राजप्यनन्दत तथाक्षीकीर्षमाणं तं पत्न्यास्तनयं ध्रुवं सुरुचिः शृण्वतो राज्ञः शेर्ष्यमाहादिगर्विता नवत्सत् नृपतोर्दिष्ण्यं भवानारोढुमर्हति न गृहीतो मया यत्त्वं कुशावपि नृपात्मजः
Again, the first line, nirpater. I think அந்த தே வந்து நீங்க தமிழ் தோ மாதிரி அந்த I guess nirpater dishnam.
Okay, sorry. Okay.
But yeah, keep going. No worries, keep going.
Okay. पालोऽसि पतनात्मानम् अन्यस्त्रीगर्भसम्पृतं नूनं वेद भवान् यस्य दुर्लभोऽर्थे मनोरथः दुर्लभेऽर्थे मनोरथः तपसारात्य पुरुषं तस्यैवानुग्रहेण मे गर्भे त्वं साधयात्मानं यदि च नृपाशुनम् मैत्रे उवाच माधुःसपन्या सद्दुरुक्तिविक्ततः स्वशनृषा दण्डहतो यथा हि हित्वा मिषन्तं पितरं स्नन्वाशं जकाममाधु बृदन् सकाशम्
Prarudan sakasham.
तं निशश्वसन्तं स्फुरितातरोष्टं सुनीतिरुत्सङ्ग उदूह्यपालं निशम्य तत्पौरमुकान्तनिदान्तं सा विव्यते यद्गदितं सपत्न्या सोत्सृजस्य धैर्यं विरलापशोकतावक्वानिना तावलतेव बाला वाक्यं सपन्यास स्मरति सरोजश्रियादृशा पाष्पकलामुवावः
And the first line la the shoka kapram word davagnina.
Okay, join பண்ணும்போது இல்லையா சோ
அந்த தாவாக்னினா அந்த வேர்டு ஐ திங்க் you said something else. தாவாக்னினா தாவ.
தாவாக்னினா தாவல தேவபாலா
Yeah.
दीर्घं श्वसन्ति वृजिनस्य पारम् अपश्यति पालकामः बाला मामङ्गलं तथा परेष्मंस्तथा भुङ्क्ते भुङ्क्ते जनो यत् प्रदुक् प्रदुकतस् प्रदुःखतस्तत्
அந்த பர துக்கதஸ்தத்
स्प्लिट्
யத்
पर
ஜனோ யத் பர दुःखतस्तत्.
ओके सत्यं वृषुच्याभिहितं भवान् मे यद्दुर्बकाया उतरे गृहीतः सतन्यो न वृत्तश्च विलज्जतो यां पार्योदि वा वोढुं मिटस्पतिर्माम्
இங்க ஒரு செகண்ட் லைன் ஃபர்ஸ்ட் வேர்ட் ஸ்தன்யேன.
स्तन्येन वृत्य
யா அதான் இந்த வில்லஜ்ஜதே அண்ட் பாரியேதி எகைன் அந்த ஏ வந்து யூ செட் ஓ அங்க தட் சேம் திங் இஸ் ஹேப்பனிங். வில்லஜ்ஜதேயாம் பாரியேதி நோ ஓ சவுண்ட் அங்க. ஓகே
जनगते यां पार्योदि वाडुं
பாரியேதி.
ஓகே வா போட்டிருக்கேன் டைப்போ
கரெக்ட்.
இல்லைங்க
பாரியேதி. யா
आदिष्टतत्ताद विमसत्स्रस्त्वम् उक्तं समात्रापि यदव्यलीकम् आराधया दोक्षज पादपद्मं यदि चक्षतोत्यासनमुत्तमो यथा यस्यांघ्रि पद्मं परिचर्य विभायत गुणाभिपत्तेः अजोत्यदिष्टत् खलु पारमेष्ट्यं पदं जितात्मस्वसनाभिवन्तयम्
வந்தியம்.
वन्त्यं
I can stop there. Yeah.
वन्त्यम् ओके
तथा मनुर्वो भगवान् पितामहो यमेकमत्या पुरुदक्षिणैर्मकैः इष्ट्वाभिपेदे दुरवापमन्यतो भौमं सुखं दिव्यम् अतापवर्ग्यं तमेव वत्साश्रयभृत्यवत्सलं मुमुक्षिभिर्मृक्य पदाब्ज पद्धतिम् अनन्यभावे निजधर्मभाविते मनस्यवस्थाभ्य भजस्व पूरुषम् नान्यं ततः पद्मपलाशलोचनात् दुःखच्चितं दें मृगयामि कञ्चन यो मृग्यते हस्तगृहीतपद्मया श्रियेतरैरङ्गविमृग्यमाणया मैत्रेयोवाच एवं सञ्जल्पितं मातुः तागमं वचः संनियम्यात्मनात्मानं निश्चक्राम पितुः पुरात् नारदस्तदुपाकर्ण्य ज्ञात्वा तस्य चिकीर्षितं स्पृष्ट्वा मूर्धन् यज्ञेन पाणिना प्राह विस्मितः अहो तेजः क्षत्रियाणां मानभङ्गम् अमृष्यतां बालोऽभ्ययं हृदा दत्ते यत्समातुर् असत्वचः नारद उवाच नादुनाप्यवमानं ते सम्मानं वापि पुत्रक लक्षयामः कुमारस्य सक्तस्य क्रीडनादिषु विकल्पे विद्यमानेऽपि न ह्यसन्तोषहेतवः पुंसो मोहं मृते भिन्ना यल्लोके निजकर्मभिः
செகண்ட் லைன்ல பின்னாஹ ஆரோட விசிறுக்கா there. செகண்ட் லைன்.
भिन्नाः ओके न पोट्टुकल ओके எழுதிட்டேன் परितुष्येत् ततस्तात तावन्मात्रेण पूरुषः दैवोपसादितं यावत् वीक्ष्ये स्वरगतिं बुधः अत मात्रोपदिष्टेन योगेनावरुरुत्ससि यत्प्रसादं स वै पुंसां दुराराध्यो मतो मम मुनयः पदवीं यस्य निसङ्गेनोरुजन्मभिः न विदुर्मृगयन्तोऽपि तीव्रयोगसमाधिना अतो निवर्ततामेष निर्बन्धस्तव निष्फलः यतिष्यति भवान् काले श्रेयेषां समुपस्थिते
Second next,
यस्य
Shreyasam.
श्रेयसां समुपस्थिते थैंक यू यस्य यद्दैव विहितं सतेन सुखदुःखयोः आत्मानं तोषयन् देहि तमसः पारं रुच्छति गुणादिकान्मुदं लिप्सेत् अनुग्रोशं गुणाधमात् मैत्रीं समानात् अन्विचेत् न अभिभूयते ध्रुव उवाच सोऽयं शमो भगवता सुखदुःखहतात्मनां दर्शितः कृपया पुंसां दुर्दर्शोऽस्मद्विधैस्तु यः अतापि मे विनीतस्य क्षात्रं घोरम् उपेयुषः सुरुच्या दुर्वचो बाणैः न भिन्ने श्रयते हृदि पदं त्रिभुवनोत्कृष्टं जगीशो साधु वर्त्म मे ब्रह्मन् अन्यैरप्यनदिष्टितम्.
For second, then the first line after the comma, Jigishos Sadhuvartame.
जिगीषो साधु वर्त्म मे.
Then second line, first word, Bruhyas Mat.
ब्रूह्यस्मत् पितृभिर्ब्रह्मन् ब्रह्मन् अन्यै the tune मातिते. Okay.
Yes, okay.
नूनं भवान् भगवतो योऽङ्गजः परमेष्टिनः वितुदन्नटते वीणां हितार्थं जगतोर्कवत् मैत्रेयोवाच इत्युदाहृदम् आकर्ण्य भगवान् नारदस्तदा प्रीतः प्रत्याहतं बालं सत्वाक्यम् अनुकम्पया नारदोवाच जनन्या विहितः पन्ताः स वै निःश्रेयसस्यते भगवान् वासुदेवस्तं भज तत्प्रवणात्मना. நம்ம 41 முடிச்சோம், அதையும் சொல்லிட்டுமா?
We did. Okay, go ahead. Yeah, I thought. Okay, keep going. Yeah.
धर्मार्थकाममोक्षाख्यं य इच्छेत् श्रेय आत्मनः एकमेव हरेस्तत्र कारणं पादसेवनम्.
So this class is going to go, because this class, I think, from 42 till about like 55. No, it's very beautiful stanzas. So I'm going to take time to say meaning stanza by stanza up to that, and then we'll do the summary, because it's very important to know what is happening there. Okay, let's see. First half, Aarti, you can be student, and Priya, Arun, you can be student.
Rajesh, sorry, நான் கார்ல இருக்கேன். If
no worries.
you can pick somebody else, நான்
Sure,
break
sure.
ஆக போறேன்.
No worries.
Sorry.
Sabita, you can be a student. So 42, yeah. Tattata gaccha bhadram te, comma, yamunayas tatam shuchi, punyam madhuvanam yatra, comma, sanidhyam nityada harehe. So kind of where we left off as Dhruva goes, and then, he meets Narada, he meets Narada, and then, Narada is telling him, why are you doing all this? Tries to distract him, but Dhruva is very firm, he says that I'm ignorant, right? So I don't care. I don't know how this happiness, sorrow, all these things work. I know I am hurt. I know what I want, and that's what I want. So if you can help me out, please help me out. So here then Narada starts by saying, Bhagavan Vasudevastam. He says that's the only choice for you, because what you are asking for, nobody else can give. And for everything, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, for all of these things that is there, ekameva hares thatra. Say Hari is the only one who you can pray, who will take care of anything that you want. So then Narada is now going to tell him exactly what he has to do, Dhruva has to do. So in 42, he's kind of telling that I recommend that you go to the banks of the river Yamuna, where there is a forest called as Madhuvana. This Madhuvana is same as Vrindavan. It's exactly same place. It's called Madhuvana then, right? Because Dhruva Charitram happened long time back before Krishna came to Vrindavan. So it was a Punya Kshetram even then. So he says you go there to that Madhuvana, because the moment you enter that place, you're automatically going to get drawn towards Bhagavan. So that is the place, is that place has got such greatness that you will naturally get attached to that place. You will naturally get attached to Hari there. So Nityada Hare, every day there is no Hari is there in that place. Tattata gacha bhadram te yamunayastatam shuchi punyam madhuvanam yatra sanidhyam nityada hare.
तत्तात गच्छ भद्रं ते यमुनायास्तटं शुचि पुण्यं मधुवनं यत्र सानिध्यं नित्यदा हरेः.
Mute little.
तत्तात गच्छ भद्रं ते यमुनायास्तटं शुचि पुण्यं मधुवनं यत्र सानिध्यं नित्यदा हरेः.
Snatvanusavanam tasmin, Kalindyas salile shive kritvojitani nivasan. You'll have a double na there, put a in, nivasan, next word will start with a atmanah kalpitasanah. So once you go there, you have Kalindi, which is Yamuna. So Yamuna is flowing through that place. So he says that you take bath. He's literally going to tell him how you go and meditate, right? What is the procedure to do these prayers? So he says every day, he says you take bath 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and evening. And then take bath in Yamuna, because first of all, that Madhuvanam itself is Punyam, and Yamuna is also another pious river. So once you do that, then you get ready after bath every time to practice Ashtanga Yoga. Then he's going to little bit repeat the Ashtanga Yoga process, but he says you have to then get ready for the meditation in that form. Snatvanusavanam tasmin kalindya salile shive kritvochitani nivasan atmanah kalpitasanah.
तत्त्वानुसवनं तस्मिन् कालिन्द्यासलिले शिवे कृत्वोचितानि निवसन् आत्मनः कल्पितासनः.
स्नात्वानुसवनं तस्मिन् कालिन्द्यासलिले शिवे कृत्वोचितानि निवसन् आत्मनः कल्पितासनः.
Pranayamena trivrita, pranendriya manomalam Shanair Vyudasyabhidyayet. So you cannot break that word, but the in, if you have it, that becomes a it. Shanair Vyudasyabhidyayet, Manasa Guruna Gurum. So he says it's the practice of Ashtanga Yoga. Like, of course, Dhruva being a 5-year-old boy, he doesn't have much around maintaining celibacy and all of that stuff, right? That ahimsa, he's not going to go hurt anybody. So he doesn't have to kind of cover those initial stages that we have to. So he directly gets into pranayama, says you continue the pranayama properly. So the inhalation, holding, exhalation with all of that. Because over a period of time, when you do that, it will start controlling your mind and your senses. And then don't get distracted with anything else and focus your mind. Manasa Guruna Gurum, the guru of all the gurus. So focus on the Supreme Lord, get your mind focused on that. Pranayamena trivrita pranendriya manomalam shanait vyutasya bhidyayet manasa guruna gurum.
प्राणायामेन त्रिवृता प्राणेन्द्रियमनोमलं शनैर्युधस्याभिध्यायेत् मनसा गुरुना गुरुम्.
प्राणायामेन त्रिवृता प्राणेन्द्रियमनोमलं शनैर्युधस्याभिध्यायेत् मनसा गुरुणा गुरुम्.
So next in the Ashtanga, okay, let me say that. Prasadhabhimukham shashvat, prasanna vadanekshanam sunasam subruvam charu puta plus kapolam sura sundaram. So in the Ashtanga Yoga, once you get seated in the asana, once you have your thing, then it says you have to do dharana. Dharana is like a focused, what you focus on something. And there, even in that Ashtanga Yoga, at that time when we were telling, they described the form of Bhagavan to meditate on. Here, the difference is when you or I read it or when I say it, all of that doesn't make any impact, right? When Dhruva is hearing directly from Narada what form to imagine. So when you hear from a great guru like Narada, that form is going to get imprinted in Dhruva's mind. If I say it now, we'll all forget in 2 minutes, but Dhruva is not going to forget because it's coming from Narada himself, right? So the next four stanzas, Narada is describing the form that one has to meditate on. Some of the words are pretty straightforward. Prasadhavi Mukam. He says the face of the Lord is very beautiful. It's very pleasing. For any devotee of the Lord is always smiling. You'll never see an angry face of Narayana or Krishna. So he's always appears to be very pleased, right? And then, of course, his sunasam, his nose, his eyes, his eyebrows, and his forehead. Everything is beautiful, that he is the most handsome or most beautiful person than anyone there is. So he's kind of describing the face of Bhagavan there. Prasadabhimukam shashwate prasanna vadane kshanam sunasam subhruvam charu kapolam surasundaram.
प्रसादाभिमुखं शश्वत् प्रसन्नवदने क्षणं सुनासं सुभ्रुवं चारु कपोलं सुरसुन्दरम्
प्रसादाभिमुखं शश्वत प्रसन्नवदने क्षणं सुनासं सुभ्रुवं चारुकपोलं सुरसुन्दरम्.
Tarunam Ramaniyangam. So put a in there, comma. Arunoshthekshanadharam. So it's Arunoshta Ikshanadharam, but that word will come together. So Arunoshthekshanadharam. Pranata Shrayanam Nrimnam, comma. Sharanyam Karunarnavam. So it will continue saying, the form, Tharunam, the form of the Lord is very Ramaniya, it's very beautiful. It's always very youthful, right? Doesn't have like the old feeling. It's a very youthful form. And he says the ling, the angam, and every part of the body of the Lord is very well formed and very well defined. And then his eyes, Ikshanadaram, is Aruna, is red in color. So it's got red color eyes like the rising sun that is there. And with that, again, he just goes on describing every part which we want to. So he says, with this, the body is very well formed, very well defined. And he's, of course, Karunar Navam. He's full of mercy. That's how his looks are, the eyes of the Lord. Tarunam Ramaniyangam Arunoshthekshanadharam Pranata Shrayanam Nrimnam Sharanyam Karunarnavam.
तरुणं रमणीयाङ्गम् अरुणोष्ठेक्षणाधरं प्रणताश्रयनं दृम्नं शरण्यं करुणार्णवम्.
Yeah, அது வந்து ndr sound, nram.
दृम्नं. Thank you.
तरुणं रमणीयाङ्गम् अरुणोष्टेक्षणार्धरं प्रणताश्रयणं नृम्नं शरण्यं करुणार्णवम्.
Srivatsankham ghana shyamam, purusham vanamalinam shanka chakra gada padmaihi. So that ra will go away, put a visarga, comma. Next word start with a, abhivyakta chaturbhujam. So he's telling the form to meditate on. So he says, in that form of that Lord, you imagine a Srivatsa mark, right, which he has on his chest, where Mahalakshmi is always seated. Then he's always Ghanashyamam. So he's always, the color is that of the rain-bearing clouds. And then he's wearing imagine him wearing a garland of flowers, and Chaturbhujam, and in each of the hands, he has Shankha, Chakra, Gada, Padma in each of the four hands. Srivatsankam Ghanashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankha Chakra Gada Padmaihi Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam.
श्रीवत्साङ्गं घनश्यामं पुरुषं वनमालिनं शङ्खचक्रगदापद्मैः अभिव्यक्तचतुर्भुजम्.
श्रीवत्साङ्गं घनश्यामं पुरुषं वनमालिनं शङ्खचक्रगदापद्मैः अभिव्यक्तचतुर्भुजम्.
Kiritinam Kundalinam, Keyura Valayanvitam Kaustubhabharana Grivam, Pita Kausheya Vasasam. No, Bhagavan doesn't have to wear gold or doesn't have to wear all these crowns or anything. But he's saying, imagine that font. No, you can imagine, Nirmalyam Gruvayarappan, who is not wearing anything, just wearing a komanam too, right? So it's totally fine. In this description, he's saying, imagine him wearing a crown, imagine him wearing all the armlets and the bangles and all of that, wearing the Kaustubha money which is around him, and wearing the Pita Kausheya Vasasam, wearing a yellow color garment at the bottom. Kiritinam Kundhalinam Keyuravalyanvitam Kaustubhabharanagrivam Pita Kausheya Vasasam.
किरीटिनं कुण्डलिनं केयूरवलयान्वितं कौस्तुभाभरणग्रीवं पीतकौशेयवाससम्
किरीटिनं कुण्डलिनं केयूरवलयान्वितं कौस्तुभाभरणग्रीवं पीतकौशेयवाससम्
Kanchi Kalapa Paryastam, Lasat Kanchana Nupuram Darshaniya Tamam Shantam, Mano Nayana Vardhanam. So again goes on to describe, just around the kancha, around the waist. So around the waist, you imagine a girdle which is surrounding them, very similar to the 100th Dashakam and the 2nd Dashakam of Narayaniam, right? Imagine all this around the waist. Imagine him wearing anklets which are actually there. And with that, his overall form is Mano Nayana Vardhanam, is very pleasing to the eyes. So you can just keep looking and meditating on that form. काञ्चीकलापपर्यस्तं लसत्काञ्चननूपुरं दर्शनीयतमं शान्तं मनोनयनवर्धनम्.
काञ्चीकलापपर्यस्तं लसत्काञ्चननूपुरं दर्शनीयतमं शान्तं मनोनयनवर्धनम्
काञ्चीकलापपर्यस्तं लसत्काञ्चननूपुरं दर्शनीयतमं शान्तं मनोनयनवर्धनम्
पद्भ्यां नखमणिश्रेण्या बिलसद्भ्यां समर्चतां हृत्पद्मकर्णिका दिष्ण्यं. So break it, that ma दिष्ण्यं. Next word starts with the a. Akramyatmanya vastitam. That's one. The rest of the word is one long word. You cannot break it. Akramyatmanya vastitam. So now, where do you imagine this form? Do you imagine this form of Bhagavan standing in the air, or is he standing somewhere? He says the best way to imagine is in your Hrit Padma, in your heart, you imagine a lotus flower. You imagine that lotus flower fully open, and in the whirl of the lotus, which is the center of the lotus, you imagine the form of Bhagavan standing there. So this form that you have, you imagine it in your heart. You should imagine that this is standing in your heart. He's standing on the lotus flower there. Padbhyam Nakamani Vilasabhyam Samarchatam Hritpadma Karnikadhishnyam Akramyatmanya Vastitam.
पद्भ्यां नखमणिश्रेण्या विलसद्भ्यां समर्चतां हृत्पद्मकर्णिकाधिष्ण्यम् आक्रम्यात्मन्यवस्थितम्
पद्भ्यां नखमनिश्रेण्या विलसद्भ्यां समर्चतां हृत्पद्मकर्णिकादृष्ण्यम् आक्रम्यात्मन्यवस्थितम्
Smayamanam Abhidyayet, Sanuragava Lokanam Niyatenaika Bhutena, Manasa Varadarshabham. So it's slightly different than, in 95 when we saw it was when Krishna was teaching Uddhava Gita, which is going to come in the 11th canto. So at that time when Krishna is telling where Uddhava, how he has to meditate, he then says, imagine this form of yours, which is you focus on the tip of your nose, Nasikagre. Focus on the tip of your nose and imagine this form. And then he says you zoom in and look at every form and then eventually zoom out and then imagine there is no form over a period of time. Now, because Dhruva is 5 years old. So for him, he's not telling him zoom in, zoom out. He's just saying imagine this form and look at as if the Bhagavan is looking at you. So when you're looking at that form, it should be as if the eyes are looking at you. So that's why it'll be, it'll be very pleasing to you when you're looking at it. Smayamanam abhidhyayet sanuragavalokanam niyate naika bhutena manasavaradarshapam.
मयमानम् अभिध्यायेत् सानुरागावलोकनं नियतेनैकभूतेन मनसा वरदर्शभम्
स्मयमानम् अविद्यायेत् सानुरागावलोकनं नियतेनैकभूतेन मनसा वरदर्शभम्
Evam bhagavato rupam, subhadram dhyayato manah nirvritya paraya turnam, sampannam na nivartate. Whoever meditates on this form of Bhagavan, is not going to get distracted, because when you just focus on one, this is easy to focus rather than saying don't focus on anything, right? Then it becomes very hard. So he says everybody should focus on this. That's a way to get away from distractions. Evam bhagavato rupam subhadram dhyayato manah nirvritya paraya turnam sampannam na nivartate.
एवं भगवतो रूपं सुभद्रं ध्यायतो मनः निर्वृत्या परया तूर्णं सम्पन्नं न निवर्तते
एवं भगवतो रूपं सुभद्रं ध्यायतो मनः निर्वृत्या परया तूर्णं सम्पन्नं न निवर्तते
Japyascha paramo guhyah, shruyatam me nripatmaja yam saptaratram prapathanne, puman pashyeti khecharan. So now he says, I am going to now tell you a special mantra, right, which you have to chant. He's saying, Dhruva, this is the mantra you have to now chant. And he says, whoever chants this for 7 nights, the 7 nights, not just in 7 nights, 7 nights, all through the day, all through the evening, all through the night. He says, if you can chant this mantra, then you can start seeing the beings who are flying in the sky, which are all the various siddhas and everybody who are able to move, who we are not able to see. So by virtue of their, getting the Ashta Siddhi, they are able to make themselves light, make themselves heavy, move and all that, which we cannot see physically with our eyes. He says, by doing this, you will be able to see those people in 7 days. Now, the mantram he's saying is what we already know, right? He says, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which we all know. But the difference is, why is this a special mantram? And he says it's Guptam, Guhyaha. He says it's a secret, right? But it's published in Srimad Bhagavatam, right? And we all know about it. The reason it is that's the impact between Sri Narada telling it through a Shishya, through the disciplic succession, right? Narada preaching it to Dhruva, and then Dhruva saying it for 7 days, versus us just saying it for 7 days. There is a difference, right? So it has been communicated, it's handed over by Narada to Dhruva to say, I want you to see. He's like a guru, big guru for Dhruva, right? So he is now transferring that mantra upadesham to Dhruva, saying that this is the mantra I want you to chant for 7 days, right? And then with this, and you may go through this process, do the Ashtanga Yoga, meditate on this form, and constantly keep saying this one mantra only, nothing else. Just say this mantra only for 7 days. Japyascha paramo guhyah shruyata me nripatmaja yam saptaratram prapathan puman pashyati khecharan. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya.
यप्यश्च परमो गुह्यः श्रूयतां मे नृपात्मज यं सप्तरात्रं प्रपठन् पुमान् पश्यति खेचरान् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय
जप्यश्च परमो गुह्यः श्रूयतां मे नृपात्मज यं सप्तरात्रं प्रपठन् पुमान् पश्यति केचरान् ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय.
Rest we'll just finish it up to a particular point, then I'll tell the meaning. Mantre nanena devasya, kuryat dravyamayim bhudah saparyam vibidhair dravyaihi. Put a visarga, comma. The next word ir goes away. Desha kala vibhagavit. मन्त्रेणानेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधः सपर्यां विविधैर्द्रव्यैः देशकालविभागवित्
मन्त्रेणानेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधः सपर्यां विविधैर्द्रव्यैः देशकालविभागवित्
मन्त्रेणानेन देवस्य कुर्याद्द्रव्यमयीं बुधः सपर्यां विविधैर्द्रव्यैः देशकालविभागवित्
सलिलैः शुचिभिर्माल्यैः visarga comma. Next word, there is a ir on top of va that will go away. Vanyai moola phaladibihi shastangkura shukaischarchet. Cannot break that word. So shastang ing sound. Shastangkura shukaischarchet, comma. Tulasya priyaya prabhum. सलिलैः शुचिभिर्माल्यैः वन्यैर्मूलफलादिभिः शास्ताङ्कुराशुकैश्चार्चेत् तुलस्या प्रियया प्रभुम्
सलिलैः शुचिभिर्माल्यैः वन्यैर्मूलफलादिभिः शस्ताङ्कुरांशुकैश्चार्चेत् तुलस्या प्रियया प्रभुम्
ராஜேஷ் இங்க குராம் ஷுகைஷ்னு இருக்கு இம்மு வருமா இம் சவுண்ட்
அது வந்து அந்த because that sha is coming is kind of like an in sound, so shastaṅkuran shukaish, but im is also okay, it's not wrong, but technically it's an in sound there, but
இன் ஓகே ஓகே सलिलैः शुचिभिर्माल्यैः वन्यैर्मूलफलादिभिः शस्ताङ्कुरान् शुकैश्चार्चेत् तुलस्या प्रियया प्रभुम्
labdhva dravya mayim archam, comma Kshityambvadishu. So there's a ib sound coming there, okay? Half ba. So Kshityambvadishu varchayet abhritatma munishanto, comma yata vangmita vanya bhuk ik. Labdhva dravyamahimarcham kshityambvadishu varchayet abhritatma munishanto yatavang mitavanya bhuk.
लब्ध्वा द्रव्यमयीम् अर्चां शित्यं भुवादिषु वार्चयेत् आभृतात्मा मुनिश्शान्तो मितवन्यभुक्
And the first line la as a BVA, so you have to kind of think it as MBYA. Okay, எல்லாமே half of that. Im is half, ib is half, it is half.
Shityambhidavadishu, it's something like that.
No, I'm going to type it in English. Give me 1 second.
Shitambhya
Yam Vadishu. So I just typed it in English. It's kind of it's that's literally the transliteration in English will be that.
ஆக்சுவலி இங்க தமிழ்ல அந்த யாவே இல்ல யா சவுண்டே இல்ல க்ஷித்யம் இப்புக்கு அப்புறம் வா வந்துடுறது
இல்ல அது வந்து க்ஷிதி அம்பு ஆதிஷு 3 வேர்ட் அங்க, சோ அதனால க்ஷித்யம்பு ஆதிஷு இஸ் a right thing there.
க்ஷித்யம்புவாதிஷு
இருக்கே பிரியா க்ஷித்யம் ப்வா இருக்கே தமிழ்ல இருக்கே க்ஷித்யம் ப்வா திஷு
புவா புவா ஓகே
ப்வா அது BVA.
ஓகே லப்த்வா द्रव्यमयीमर्चां क्षित्यं भ्यातिषु वार्चयेत् आभृतात्मा मुनिश्शान्तो यतवाङ्मितवन्यभुक्.
Not exactly, but okay, you just practice.
Sorry, I will practice.
Okay, no worries. Okay, we'll move to the next round. Next, let me see who I had here. Is Vani there today? Vani is not on. Okay. Vasu, you can be a student. Vani is there. Okay. Vani, you can be a student, and Vasu, you can be a student. Swechhavatara charitaihi. So that ra goes away. Visarga, comma. Achintya. Next word starts with a. Achintya nijamayaya. Karishyat yuttama shlokaha. Again, is goes away. Visarga, comma. Shlokaha. Tad dhyayet hridayangamam. स्वेच्छावतारचरितैः अचिन्त्य निजमायया करिष्यत्युत्तमश्लोकः तद्ध्यायेत् हृदयङ्गमम्
स्वेच्छावतारचरितैः अचिन्त्य निजमायया करिष्यत्युत्तमश्लोकः तद्ध्यायेत् हृदयङ्गमम्
स्वेच्छावतारचरितैः अचिन्त्य निजमायया करिष्यत्युत्तमाश्लोकः तद्ध्येयद् हृदयाङ्गमम् करेक्टा
तद्ध्यायेत्
दध्यायेदृढयङ्गमम्
dasam hridayangamam. Yeah, I mean the dhr, it's actually hridayangamam, but because it is coming with the da, it takes that dhan, it would have written underneath. If it's easy for you, you can just say dhyayet hridayangamam. Okay, it's easier.
ध्यायेत् हृदयङ्गमम्.
Yeah. Paricharya bhagavato, comma, yavatyah purva sevitaha ta mantra hridayenaiva, comma, prayunjyan mantra murtaye. परिचर्या भगवतो यावत्यः पूर्वसेविताः ता मन्त्रहृदयेनैव प्रयुञ्ज्यान् मन्त्रमूर्तये.
परिचर्या भगवतो यावत्यः पूर्वसेविताः तामन्त्रहृदयेनैव प्रमुञ्ज्यान् मन्त्रमूर्तये.
चर्या भगवतो यावत्याः पूर्वसेविताः तामन्त्रहृदयेनैव प्रयुञ्ज्यान् मन्त्रमूर्तये.
एवं कायेन मनसा वचसा च मनोगतं परिचर्यमाणो भगवान् भक्तिमत् परिचर्यया. एवं कायेन मनसा वचसा च मनोगतं परिचर्यमाणो भगवान् भक्तिमत् परिचर्यया.
एवं कायेन मनसा वचसा च मनोगतं परिचर्यमाणो भगवान् भक्तिमत्परिचर्यया.
एवं कायेन मनसा वचसा च मनोगतं परिचर्यमनो भगवान् भक्तिमत्परिचर्यया.
Second line, परिचर्यमाणो. Okay, awesome. Okay. Okay. Pumsam amayinam, if you want to break at that mother, pumsam amayinam samyak. In Sanskrit, if you have a ig, because you're putting a comma, that becomes a ik sound, ka sound, samyak, comma. Bhajatam bhava vardhanah shreyo dishatyabhimatam, comma, yad dharmadishu dehinam. Pumsam amayinam samyak bhajatam bhavavardhanah shreyo dishatyabhimatam yad dharmadishu dehinam.
पुंसा अमायिनां सम्यक् भजतां भाववर्धनः श्रेयो दिशत्यभिमतं यद्धर्मादिषु देहिनाम्.
पुंसाम् अमायिनां सम्यक् भजतां भाववर्धनः श्रेयो दिशत्यभिमतं यद्धर्मदिषु देहिनाम्.
Diraktash chendriya ratau, comma, bhakti yogena bhuyasa tam nirantara bhavena, comma, bhajetadha vimuktaye. Biratak विरक्तश्चेन्द्रियरतौ भक्तियोगेन भूयसा तं निरन्तरभावेन भजेताद्धा विमुक्तये
विरक्तश्चेन्द्रियरतौ भक्तियोगेन भूयसा तं निरन्तरभावेन भजेताद्धा विमुक्तये
विरक्तश्चेन्द्रियरतौ भक्तियोगेन भूयसा तं निरन्तरभावेन भजेताधा विमुक्तये
इत्युक्तस्थं परिक्रम्य प्रणम्य च नृपार्भकः ययौ मधुवनं पुण्यं हरेश्चरणचर्चितम् इत्युक्तस्थं
sorry nripar bakah dane
नृपार्भकः या
okay
इत्युक्तस्तं परिक्रम्य प्रणम्य च नृपार्भकः ययौ मधुवनं पुण्यं हरेश्चरणचर्चितम्
इत्युक्तस्तं परिक्रम्य प्रणम्य च नृपार्भकः ययौ मधुवनं पुण्यं हरे चरणं चर्चितं हरेश्चरणचर्चितम्
इत्युक्तस्तं परिक्रम्य प्रणम्य च नृपार् बकः ययौ मधुवनं पुण्यं हरेश्चरण चर्चितम्
तपोवनं गते तस्मिन् प्रविष्टोऽन्तः one word प्रविष्टोऽन्तः पुरं मुनिः अर्हितार्हणको one word राज्ञा सुखासीन उवाच तम् तपोवनं गते तस्मिन् प्रविष्टोऽन्तः पुरं मुनिः अर्हितार्हणको राज्ञा सुखासीन उवाच तम्
तपोवनं गते तस्मिन् प्रविष्टोऽन्तः पुरं मुनिः अर्हितार्हणको राज्ञा सुखासीन उवाच तम्
तपोवनं गते तस्मिन् प्रविष्टोऽन्तः पुरं मुनिः अर्हितार्हणको राज्ञा सुखासीन उवाच तम्
नारदो वाच राजन् किं ध्यायसे दीर्घं मुखेन परिशुष्यता किं वा न रिष्यते कामो धर्मो वार्थेन संयुतः नारदो वाच राजन् किं ध्यायसे दीर्घं मुखेन परिशुष्यता किं वा न रिष्यते कामो धर्मो वार्थेन संयुतः
नारद उवाच राजन् किं ध्यायसे दीर्घं मुखेन परिशुष्यता किं वा न रिष्यते कामो धर्मो वार्तेन संयुतः
नारद उवाच राजन् किं ध्यायसे दीर्घं मुखेन परिशुष्यता किं वा न रिष्यते कामो धर्मो वार्तेन संयुतः
वसु नारदौन् केट्टु इट्स् नारदो वाच नाट् औ
ओ नारदो नारद उवाच சொல்லுமோ
नारदो वाच
ओके
राजो वाच सुतो मे बालको ब्रह्मन् स्त्रैणेना करुणात्मना cannot break that word स्त्रैणेना करुणात्मना निर्वासितः पञ्चवर्षः सः मात्रा महान् कविः राजोवाच सुतो मे बालको ब्रह्मन् स्त्रैणेना करुणात्मना निर्वासितः पञ्चवर्षः सः मात्रा महान् कविः
सुतो मे बालको ब्रह्मन् स्त्रैणेना करुणात्मना निर्वासितः पञ्चवर्षः सः मात्रा महान् कविः
You have Rajovacha, right? I didn't.
sorry
Okay.
राजोवाच
उवाच सुतो मे बालको ब्रह्मन् स्त्रैणेन करुणात्मना निर्वासितः पञ्चवर्षः सः मात्रा महान् कविः
Apyanatham vane brahman, comma, masmadantyarbhakam, cannot break that word. Masmadantyarbhakam vrikaha, shrantam shayanam kshuditam, comma, parimlana mukambujam. Apyanatham vane brahman, masmadantyarbhakam vrikaha, shrantam shayanam kshuditam, parimlana mukambujam.
अप्यनातं वने ब्रह्मन् मस्मादन्त्यर्भकं वृकाः श्रान्तं शयानं क्षुधितं परिम्लानमुखाम्बुजम्
यनातं वने ब्रह्मन् मास्मादन्त्यर्पखं वृकाः श्रान्तं शयानं शुदितं परिम्लानमुखाम्बुजम्
Aho me bata dauratmyam, comma, stri jitasyopadharaya, it's one word, stri jitasyopadharaya, yonkam premna rurukshantam, again one word, comma, nabhyanandam asattamaha, you can break it, that ma there. Aho me bata dauratmyam, stri jitasyopadharaya, yonkam premna rurukshantam, nabhyanandamasattamaha.
अहो मे बत दौरात्म्यं स्त्रीजितस्योपधारय योऽङ्कं प्रेम्णा रुरुक्षन्तं नाभ्यनन्दमसत्तमः
सोमे बत दौरात्म्यां स्त्रीजितस्योपधारय योऽङ्कं प्रेम्णा रुरुक्षन्तं नाभ्यनन्दम् असत्तमः
Narado vacha ma shuchas swatanayam devaguptam vishampate tat prabhavam abhignaya, comma, pravrinkte yadyasho jagat.
ஒரு
Narado
வாட்டி இந்த
vacha,
லாஸ்ட் லைன் மட்டும் ஒரு வாட்டி சொல்லுங்களேன்
sure.
சாரி
Tat prabhavam, breaking at that ma there, prabhavam abhignaya, comma, pravrinkte yadyasho jagat. Yat yasho, yadyasho jagat.
தேங்க்யூ
नारदो वाच मामाशु च स्वतनयम् देवगुप्तम् विशाम्पते तत्प्रभावम् अभिज्ञाय प्रावृन्ते यद्यशो जगत्.
मामाशु च स्वतनयं देवगुप्तं विशाम्पते तत्प्रभावमविज्ञाय प्रावृङ्क्ते what is it प्रावृङ्क्ते
Pravring ik ing and then ikte pravृङ्क्ते.
प्रावृङ्क्ते यद्यशो जगत्
नारद उवाच मामा शुचस्व तनयं देवगुप्तं विशाम्पते तत्प्रभावम् अविज्ञाय प्रावृङ्क्ते यद्यशो जगत्
तु दुष्करं कर्म कृत्वा, comma, लोकपालैरपि प्रभुः ऐष्यत्यचिरतो राजन्, comma, यशो विपुलयं स्तव. सुदुष्करं कर्म कृत्वा लोकपालैरपि प्रभुः ऐष्यत्यचिरतो राजन् यशो विपुलयं स्तव.
I have it as एष्यत्य
It's hold on. No, it's I. It's AI, right? The one in Sanskrit, the one with the line on top. It's I.
okay Telugu has
Aishwaryam.
एष्यत्व
Can we say that?
Anybody else was Sanskrit? The Priya Sriram Ungal enna puttu?
Aishatya,
I
Aida.
தான். I only.
ஐஷ்யத்தை தான் போட்டிருக்கு ஐ
सुदुष्करं कर्म कृत्वा लोकपालैरपि प्रभुः ऐष्यत्यचिरतो राजन् यशो विपुलयं स्तव
दुष्करं कर्म कृत्वा लोकपालेरपि प्रभुः ऐषत्य चिरतो राजन् यशो विपुलयां यशो विपुलयं स्तव
we'll pause here, then we'll do one last one. But I'm just going to say the meaning till this particular point, or maybe until 71, because after that, I want to spend some time on that. So essentially, Narada is giving this description, right? Saying you say this mantra, and then because Dhruva is in the forest, right? So Narada is saying, you you create, because it's very difficult to just keep imagining every time. So he says you can create a structure of Bhagavan, right? He says you create a structure with anything you want. You want to create it with wood, you want to create it with water and some sand, that is fine, or metal. It doesn't matter. You create the structure with anything you want and offer it whatever you are able to get. So that's why in that point he would have said phalam pushpam toyam. I said you offer water, you offer flowers, you offer fruits, right? You offer whatever you want, right? You offer, make garlands, offer him whatever. He says you offer him grass, you offer him, the flower buds you can offer. He says you even offer him the bark of the trees. So the tree bark, which is there, the skin of the trees, he says you can also offer that. And then, but he says, but Tulsi is little, so that's why he says Tulasya, somewhere that word would have come when he's telling at that point. Tulasya Priya Prabhu in 55. He says you can offer anything. Tulsi leaves are, is more special. Of course, he is in Madhuvanam, which is Vrindavanam, which is filled with Vrinda trees, which is Tulsi trees, anyways. So he says you have access to Tulsi there, so you can offer that as well. And then, he says whatever it is, he says offer with devotion, right? And then, so Narada says that at the end of it, he says that one, you do this very dedicatedly, do it all day, you be meditating, you take bath 3 times, you chant this mantra, and then just focus on the Supreme Lord. Don't worry about anything. And he says, this description of how I'm telling you is how others, the greatest of devotees, have worshipped Bhagavan. So, it's a proved and tested, tried and tested method that if you're not able to do that, even if you're not able to do any puja, even if you're not able to offer flowers or fruits or whatever, it's fine. He says, at least think of him and think of this mantra in your mind, because mantra anyways manase trayati, you just have to think of it in your mind, you don't have to say it out loud. So he says just keep thinking about this, contemplating on this mantra all through, that is the one. He says with that Narada leaves, right? He's given the instruction to Dhruva, now it's up to Dhruva. So after Narada leaves, Dhruva now is all set, right? So he then goes towards Madhuvanam, which is where it says where Hari is always there, right? Like we said, Hari is always there in Madhuvanam. So he goes there and then he starts doing exactly as what Narada is prescribing. So he starts. Now, the worry that Narada has is Dhruva's father, Uttanapada, is a big king. So he's going to send army of people to go looking out for Dhruva, because Dhruva has suddenly gone missing right now, right? So Narada has to go make sure that his father doesn't obstruct a big bhakta from getting to meet Bhagavan. So he then goes to Uttanapada, and then that's where he goes and says, Uttanapada, you look very, sorrow, what happened? You look very tired, and what is happening? What are your problems? So Uttanapada is very candid. He says, I made a big mistake. He says, I was so addicted to my wife, that I have actually not done my duty as a father. My son was just 5 years old. And then when he wanted to sit on my lap, I should have given him equal attention as my other son. But because I was so attached to my wife, I somehow did not stop when she actually told him that he cannot sit on my lap. So, he's a very small boy. I don't know what has happened to him. Maybe he's gone to the forest. Maybe some animals would have eaten him. I don't know if he's alive. I don't know what he's eating and all of this. That's where that Rajo Vacha comes, where Uttanapada is saying a few things like this, right? So Narada immediately tells him that please do not worry about your son, right? Saying he is absolutely fully protected by Bhagavan. He is in the forest, but do not go and stop him, right? Do not go in the intention of trying to save him from the forest. He's going to be fully protected. Absolutely nothing is going to happen to him. And he says, you have no idea what he's going to accomplish, right? And how much he's going to be able to achieve with it. That his reputation is going to far exceed anything that you can actually even think of it. So he says, do not worry, do not go interrupt him. He will eventually come back home. When he gets what he desires, which he is going to get, he will eventually return back home. So with that, Narada then stops Uttanapada from trying to send anybody or anything to go disturb Dhruva. So that was kind of until we'll see, then we'll go to Maitreya Vacha. So we'll see the last round here. Amuchichi, you can be a student, and who else today? Sriram, you can be a student. So that is kind of coming till Narada Vacha 69, where we kind of stopped. So Maitreyo Vacha iti devarshina proktam, comma, vishrutya jagati patihi raja lakshmim anadhritya, comma, putramevanva chintayat. It's one word. Maitreyo Vacha iti devarshina proktam vishrutya jagati patihi raja lakshmim anadhritya putramevanva chintayat.
इति देवर्षिणा प्रोक्तं विश्रुत्य जगतीपतिः राजलक्ष्मीमनादृत्य पुत्रमेवान्वचिन्तयत्.
You have Maitreyo Vacha, right? And the
Oh, yes, I'm sorry.
yeah.
मैत्रेय उवाच इति देवर्षिणा प्रोक्तं विसृत्य जगदीपतिः राजलक्ष्मीम् अनादृत्य पुत्रमेवान्वचिन्तयत्.
Tatrabhishiktah prayatah, that is goes away, visarga comma, tamuposhya vibhavarim samahitah paryacharat. So the dr, if you have it, put a it paryacharat, comma. Next word will start with a r. Rishyadeshena purusham. Tatrabhishiktah prayatah tamuposhya vibhavarim samahitah paryacharat rishyadeshena purusham.
तत्राभिषिक्तः प्रयतः तामुपोष्य विभावरीं समाहितः पर्यचरत् ऋष्यादेशेन पूरुषम्.
तत्राभिषिक्तः प्रयतः तामुपोष्य विभावरीं समाहितः पर्यचरत् ऋष्यादेशेन पूरुषम्.
So here in 71, so now the next few stanzas, I'm going to say line by line, so you understand. So here that Dhruva is getting ready. So there Narada has told Uttanapada, please don't interrupt. Here Dhruva has come to Madhuvana. He is now beginning to follow what Narada has instructed. So now we're going to go month by month what Dhruva is doing for the first 5 months, right? Three ratrante, comma, kapitta bhadarashanaha, atma vrityanusarena, comma, Masam Ninyerchayan Harim. So if any of you want to meet Bhagavan in 5 months, this is exactly the path you need to follow. So the first month, he eats only every third day. Three ratrante means every 3 days only he eats. That too, he only ate fruits and badari berries. So fruits and berries he ate every 3 days. Right, and that way he was not, his body and soul, he was kind of keeping them intact, and all he did was Ninye Archayan Harim. He was just constantly meditating on the form of the Lord, and every 3 days he used to eat fruits. Triratrante kapitta bhadarashanaha atma vrityanusarena masam ninyerchayan harim.
Triratrande कवित्थ बदराशनः आत्मवृत्त्यनुसारेण मासं निन्यर्चयन् हरिम्.
त्रिरात्रान्ते कवित्थ बदराशनः आत्मवृत्त्यनुसारेण मासं निन्यर्चयन् हरिम्.
And second line, that atma vrityanusarena. ஆத்மவிருத்தியனு.
ஆத்மவிருத்தியனுசாரேன மாசம் நின்யேர்சயன் ஹரிம்.
द्वितीयं च तथा मासं, कॉमा, षष्ठेर्भको दिने तृणपर्णादिभिः कॉमा कृतानोभ्यर्चयत्. So one word, कृतानोभ्यर्चयत् vibhum. So the second month, he only doing shashter bhako. So every 6 days is only when he eats. So he even stops eating the fruits and berries. He only eats dry leaves. Whatever is dry grass and dry leaves which are there is all that he's eating, right? In the second month, and he's continuing to do his worship. Dvitiyam cha tatha masam shashter bhako dine तृणपर्णादिभिः शीर्णैः कृतान्नोऽभ्यर्चयद् विभुम्
द्वितीयं च यत्तथा मासं षष्ठे षष्ठेर्भगो दिने तृणपर्णादिभिः शीर्णैः कृतान्नोऽभ्यर्चयद्विभुम्
द्वितीयं स तदा मासं षष्ठे षष्ठेर्भगोदिने तृणपर्णादिभिः शीर्णैः क्राधन्नोऽप्यर्सयन् विभुम्.
In the last time, कृतान्नोऽभ्यर्चयद् विभुम्
कृतान्नोऽप्यर्सयन् विभुम्.
तृतीयं चानयन् मासं नवमे नवमे हनि अभक्ष उत्तम श्लोकं break at that im upadhavat samadhina. The next in the third month, navame. So only every 9 days he should take anything. And in that also, he even stopped eating those dry leaves and grass, and only you should take water, right? So with that, he was just completely in trance and just completely in meditation right now. तृतीयं चानयन्मासं नवमे नवमे हनि अभक्ष उत्तमश्लोकम् उपाधावत् समाधिना.
तृतीयं चानयन्मासं नवमे नवमे हनि अभक्ष उत्तमश्लोकम् उपाधावत्समाधिना.
तृतीयं सानयन्मासं नवमे नवमे हनि अपक्ष उत्तमश्लोकम् उपादवत्समाधिना.
चतुर्थमपि वै मासं द्वादशे द्वादशे हनि वायुभक्षो जितश्वासो ध्यायन् देवम् अधारयत्. So the fourth month. So now only every 12th day he used to only inhale air every 12th day. So he literally was not breathing. He was kind of in the complete trance, right? So he was able to control his breath to an extent that he didn't even have to breathe, right? And his body was just still. And then he was completely meditating right now. चतुर्थमपि वै मासं द्वादशे द्वादशे हनि वायुभक्षो जितश्वासो ध्यायन् देवम् अधारयत्.
चतुर्थमपि वै मासं द्वादशे द्वादशे हनि वायुभक्षो जितश्वासो ध्यायन् देवमधारयत्.
चतुर्थमपि वै मासं द्वादशे द्वादशे हनि वायुभक्षो जितश्वासो ध्यायन् देवमधारयत्.
पंचमे मास्यनुप्राप्ते जितश्वासो नृपात्मजः ध्यायन् ब्रह्म पदैकेन तस्थौ स्थाणुरिवाचलः. So then in the fifth month, he had completely overcome, he perfected his breathing so perfectly that pada ekena, he was standing on one feet, and he was as if it was like a column of a stone, which means like a stone column doesn't move, right? It doesn't move no matter what happens. It doesn't need anything to survive. It is just standing erect without moving. And that's how he was. He was standing on one feet. He had full control. He didn't even have to breathe, and he was just standing. Now, if you ask how does he not have to breathe, remember so many rishis when they, when they do sannyasa, they're still there. They don't have to breathe. Even when when the Vishwamitra and all of them were doing tapas, even Hiranyakashipu is going to do tapas later. He's going to be covered with an anthill. If he's covered with an anthill, how can he breathe, right? So they are able to overcome that to such an extent that they're still there. They're still alive. And they're meditating, and that's what Dhruva is doing, but standing on one leg right now. पंचमे मास्यनुप्राप्ते जितश्वासो नृपात्मजः ध्यायन् ब्रह्मपदैकेन तस्थौ स्थाणुरिवाचलः.
पंचमे मास्यानुप्राप्ते जितश्वासो नृपात्मजः ध्यायन् ब्रह्मपदैकेन तस्थौ स्थाणुरिवाचलः.
पंचमे मास्यानुप्राप्ते जितश्वासो नृपात्मजः ध्यायन् ब्रह्मपदैकेन तस्थौ स्थाणुरिवाचलः.
Okay, we'll do the 6 more stanzas. We'll finish it, then I'll tell the meaning of the rest. Sarvato mana akrishya, kriti bhutendriyashayam, dhyayan bhagavato rupam, nadrakshit kinchana param. Sarvato mana akrishya, kriti bhutendriyashayam, dhyayan bhagavato rupam, nadrakshit kinchana param.
सर्वतो मन आकृष्य कृतिभूतेन्द्रियाशयम् ध्यायन् भगवतो रूपम् नाद्राक्षीत् किञ्चनापरम्
सर्वतो मन आकृष्य हृदि भूतेन्द्रियाशयम् ध्यायन् भगवतो रूपम् नात्राक्षित् किञ्चनापरम्
आधारं महदादीनां प्रधान पुरुषेश्वरं ब्रह्म धारयमाणस्य त्रयो लोकाश्चकम्पिरे. आधारं महदादीनां प्रधान पुरुषेश्वरं ब्रह्म धारयमाणस्य त्रयो लोकाश्चकम्पिरे.
आधारम् महदादीनाम् प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरम् ब्रह्मधारयमाणस्य त्रयो लोकाश्च कम्पिरे
आधारं मगदातीनां प्रधानपुरुषेश्वरं ब्रह्मधारयमाणस्य त्रयो लोकास्सकम्बिरे
यदैक पादेन स पार्थिवार्भकः, that is goes out visarga तस्थौ तदंगुष्ट निपीडिता मही ननाम तत्रार्धम, breaking at that ma, तत्रार्धम इभेन्द्र धिष्ठिता तरीव सव्येतरतः पदे पदे. यदैकपादेन स पार्थिवात्भकः तस्थौ तदङ्गुष्टनिपीडिता मही ननाम तत्रार्धम् इभेन्द्रधिष्ठिता तरीव सव्येतरतः पदे पदे.
यदैकपादेन स पार्थिवार्भगः तस्थौ तदङ्गुष्टनिपीडिता मही ननाम तत्तार्धमिवेन्द्रधिष्ठिता तरीव सव्येतरतः पदे पदे.
यदैकपातेन स पार्थिवार्भगः तस्थौ तदङ्गुष्टनिपीडिता मही ननाम तत्रार्थमिवेन्द्रधिष्ठिता तरीव सव्येतरः पदे पदे.
तरतः पदे पदे, the last word सव्येतरतः.
Okay.
तस्मिन्नभिध्यायति विश्वमात्मनो द्वारं निरुध्यासुम् अनन्यया धिया लोका निरुच्छ्वास निपीडिता भृशं स लोकपालाः शरणं ययुर्हरिम्. तस्मिन्नभिध्यायति विश्वमात्मनो द्वारं निरुध्यासुमनन्यया धिया लोका निरुच्छ्वास निपीडिता भृशं स लोकपालाः शरणं ययुर्हरिम्.
तस्मिन्नभिध्यायति विश्वमात्मनो द्वारं निरुध्यासुमनन्यया धिया लोका निरुच्छ्वास निपीडिता भृशं स लोकपालाः शरणं ययुर्हरिम्.
तस्मिन्नभिध्यायति विश्वमात्मनो द्वारं नृत्यासुम् अनन्याधिया लोका निरुच्छ्वासनिपीडिता भृशं स लोकपालाः शरणं ययुर्हरिम्.
देवा ऊचुः नैवं विदामो भगवान् प्राणरोधं चराचरस्याखिल सत्त्वधाम्नः विदेहि तन्नो वृजिनात् विमोक्षं प्राप्ता वयं त्वां शरणं शरण्यम्. देवा ऊचुः नैवं विदामो भगवान् प्राणरोधं चराचरस्याखिल सत्त्वधाम्नः Videhi tanno vrijinat vimoksham prapta vayam tvam sharanam sharanyam.
Rajesh, is it Bhagavan or Bhagavan? The first
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan.
Oh, sorry, I don't know if I said Bhagavan, sorry.
Naivam vidamo Bhagavan pranarodham characharasya khila sattva videhi tanno vrijinad vimoksham prapta vayam tvam sharanam sharanyam.
Devavūchiku naivam vidamo bhagavan pranarotam sarasarasya kila sattva dhamnah videhi tanno vrijinat vimoksham prapta vayam dvam saranam saranyam.
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ma Bhaishta Balam Tapaso Duratyayat. You have a in and a ni there. The in gets replaced with the it. Duratyayat, comma. Nibarta Ishye Pratiyata Swadhama Yato Hivah Prana Nirodha Asit. If you have a thou, it becomes a it first, it, comma. Next word is Autana Padir Mai Sangatatma. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Ma Bhaishtabhalam Tapaso Duratyayat Nivartayishye Pratiyata Swadhama Yato Hivah Prana Nirodha Asit Autana Padir Mai Sangatatma.
Shri Bhagavanuvacha Ma Vaishtabalam Tapaso Duratyayad Nivartayishye Pratiyada Swadhama Yado Hiva Prana Nirodha Asit Autana Padirmayi Sangadatma.
Shri Bhagavan Ma Paishtapalam tabaso turatyat nivartayishye pritiyata swadhama yedo hiva prana nirota asit autana padir mai sankatatma.
The first line just before the comma, Duratyayat. Okay, it's a double ya sound there, okay?
Tabaso duratyayat. Okay.
Duratyayat.
Duratyayat.
Yeah. Iti Srimad Bhagavate Mahapurane Paramahamsyam Samhitayam Chaturtha Skandhe Dhruva Chariteshtamo Dhyayah. Either say Chariteshtamo Dhyayah, or if you're not able to say that, Charite Ashtamo Dhyayah. Okay. All right, so I'll quickly say the meaning of the next 5 minutes. So like we said, so the 5th month, right? So he's literally standing on one leg as if like a firm column. And then he's controlling all. There's no breathing. He's not doing anything. So we all breathe. So he's not even breathing at this point. So when he starts doing this, what happens is he's essentially connecting with the Supreme Lord directly. So there's no separation between him and Bhagavan. So the universal consciousness that we speak about, he's essentially connected to the universal consciousness now, which means when Dhruva stops breathing, the entire world is actually getting suffocated because we are all connected, right? But we don't feel that connection. But Dhruva is tapped into that universal connection directly right now. So because of which he is saying he's as strong as Bhagavan can be. He gets that weight. So even his thumb, even though he's standing with 1 feet, his foot's thumb is pressing the earth down. It's pressing the ground down. That's how strong he was, even though he's not eaten for 5 months, right? And then because he's able to connect, everybody is feeling suffocated. So everybody goes to Narayana and says that, that's what the Deva Uchuhu, you are the Bhagavan for everybody. We don't know what is happening. Everybody is choking. We feel that something is actually wrong. You have to figure out what is happening. So Bhagavan says, I know what is happening. My big devotee, Uttana Pada son, he's actually out there meditating, thinking of me. So this is going to happen till I go and stop him from doing this. So he says, I am going to go pretty soon. I will go. Once all his austerities have come to an end, and I will go. I will then wake him up from this, and you all will be saved from this as well. So with that, first chapter of Dhruva Charitam gets over. The next chapter we'll see Bhagavan coming and meeting Dhruva, and the Dhruva Stuti that Dhruva will do to Narayana. Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha, Shri Hare Namaha. Gopika Jeevana Smaranam Govinda Govinda. Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Kahena vacha manasendriyerva buddhyatmana va prakrite swabhavat karomi yatyat sakalam parasmai narayanaayeti samarpayami.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you, Rajesh.
Thank you,
Have a good
Rajesh.
evening.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rajesh.
Right,
Bye,
Rajesh.
everyone.
Have a good one. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.